paper up. Damn, just got a paper cut. Bars hit like an uppercut. For niggas who talk too much haters, just wanna rock with us. Graduated with honors, I finished school. Popular interview after interview. Different lanes and avenues hitting these platforms. Any youngers, the bills is due. Ain't no need to deny it. The city good, don't divide it. All of this segregation just leave room for hate. We on the R-I-Z. We on the R-I-Z-E. We out, check me out. We on the R-I-Z-E. We out, check me out. We on the R-I-Z-E. We do your live in. We on the R-I-Z-E. We out, we on the R-I-Z-E. We out, check me out. We on the R-I-Z-E. We out, check me out. We on the R-I-Z-E. Yes,
Let's go. Niggas like me, I'm cut from a different fabric. Now every chance I get, bitch, I feel just like the man. For the times that a nigga never had shit. Yeah, I'm talking down bad up on some sad shit. That shit'll make you mad quick. That shit really turned me to a savage. We was in the street causing all that fucking static. Niggas on the run, really sleeping in the attic. Yeah, that nigga about them dollars like an addict. I can't fuck with that nigga if he ragged. Real spill, niggas can't clap your hands, they bite your head like holy cow. Real nigga, I forever be, that's part of my legacy. Niggas once hated on me, how the fuck you mad at me? That's how I'm cut, that's how I'm cut, let's go. We never gave a damn, and we ain't never gave no fuck, no. That's how I'm cut, that's how I'm cut, let's go. Shout out to Southern Partners, man, in the building with me. Let's go. You ain't cooking all of this shit up for good. That's how I'm cut, that's how I'm cut.
You already know what time it is, man. Thank y'all for keeping it locked right here on the Rize TV, man. You with your host, Mazerati Santana. Go ahead and start following me right now on Instagram, MazzyBracken18. Also find me on Facebook, Mazerati Santana. Make sure you go share this live right now. We got a special guest in the hot seat with us tonight, this afternoon, you know what I mean, on the Rize TV, very first time, season 2, man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Who we got in the hot seat with?
Once again, I'm Mir, I am. Thanks for having me.
Facts. Here I am in the building with me, man. For everybody who do not know who you is, go ahead and let them know, you know, what it is that you do, where you from and all that.
I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I live in Raleigh. I'm the owner and founder of Carolina Ways, which is a big lifestyle culture brand promoting independent and upcoming artists. I'm also a radio personality for Radio in Raleigh's K97.5. With my platform, I do a whole lot of different things and have a whole lot of opportunities for artists. So I'm sure we'll probably tap on that later. But yeah, definitely make sure you follow me and tap in.
Absolutely. That's what it is, man. So here I am, man. Welcome to the show. You know what I mean? Welcome on the Rize TV. I've been running you down to get you here, man. You know, like that's, anybody know me, man, they know how I get down, you know, like, we got to do this for the culture, man. Like, you know, a lot of people from this city wanted to see this, you know what I mean? So here she is, she in the hot seat, man.
Yeah, I'm here.
Absolutely. Now, let's jump right into it. Like, how long have you been on the scene as far as like with the music industry though?
I've been doing stuff with the music industry probably since about 2016. I've been in radio since like 07. Wow. But in terms of just like doing events and shows and launching Carolina Waves and open mics and festivals and all those things, that's been around 2016.
Okay. All right, so yeah, you've been in it for a while. What's some of the good things that's, you know, that came out this career that you're making for yourself, as far as like with being in radio?
I've just always had a passion for radio, so, you know, regardless of the good things, I just enjoy radio, being on the air, being able to entertain. But some of the cool things, I mean, you know, just being able to connect with some of the people and build relationships. And a lot of the, you know, celebrities I've been able to meet, and then veering into the Carolina Waves lane, just a lot of the artists that I've been able to help and put in winning positions and create opportunities and things like that. So the coolest thing I've done in radio, I interviewed Whitney Houston 4 months before she died in person. Yeah, we were probably this close.
What was that like? That's crazy. 4 months before she died.
4 months, and that was like a lifelong dream. So
we talking about the legend Whitney Houston, man.
Never be another.
How did you come up on that interviewing Whitney?
I was working for a college radio station at the time at NC State, which is where I graduated. And her sister-in-law, Pat Houston, her brother's wife, is from Shelby, North Carolina. And I found out that she was doing an event called the Teen Summit. So I went to cover the event in 2010. Whitney wasn't there that year, but I was able to build a relationship with Pat Houston, her sister-in-law. I interviewed her. Bobby Christina was there. Who was else there? Kim Burrell was there. BB Winans, and Whitney's mom, Sissy Houston. So I kind of built a relationship and a foundation. So when it came around the second year, I reached out, and it was rumors that Whitney would be there, but there was no confirmation. It was like a 3-hour drive, right, you know, each time. So I was like, shit, fuck it. Can I get some here? Okay. Sorry, y'all, allergies have been slapping me around like fucking Chris Rock. Like, I'm getting my ass kicked right now.
Chris Rock.
But yeah, so the following year, I took a chance. I went out there, and Whitney ended up being there. And like I said, I had kind of built a relationship, and her team was comfortable with me. And so when I asked for the interview, you know, they went to talk it over for a second, and they were like, okay. And what's crazy is the event was going on at the same time that I interviewed her. So Pat and everybody and everybody in the team went over to the next room for the event, and then they just left me alone in the room with Houston. And I'm just like, if y'all knew how big a fan I was, like Whitney Houston's my all-time #1 icon. Like there was none greater since I was like 10 years old. I've been a huge Whitney Houston fan. And so, you know, for that moment to happen, it was honestly crazy. And she was just chilling like, man, I'm hungry. And Bobby Christina called her during our interview, and she was like, hold on 1 second. And it was just like 5 minutes or whatever. And afterwards, like I hugged her. Wow. I told her I loved her. And like she was leaving there to go film what ended up being her last movie, Sparkle, in Detroit. And I was just like, yes, I'm in there. Like when the movie comes out, you know, when they're doing the press, I'll be able to have a longer interview. And then that just never happened because she passed away 4 months later, and the movie came out after she passed away. So, wow. But you know what? I'm just really thankful for that moment, because I'm like, I really feel like God did that for me, because like I said, I have been a fan since I was like 5 years old.
Absolutely.
You know, listening to The Greatest Love of All, and then, you know, 20-something years later, like, boom, it happens where I'm in a position to be able to interview her. So that was crazy.
So would you say Whitney is like one of your biggest idols?
#1, hands down. There's no one. The only other people that are close are TLC and Stevie Wonder. But I've met TLC and interviewed them plenty of times. So, and they're like more easily accessible than Whitney Houston. And Whitney Houston doesn't do interviews. So like, the fact that #1, she happened to be there. #2, she did an interview because she hates media. And she was, you know, cool enough to sit down with me and talk for a few minutes. Like that was wild.
Right.
I still, and I live tweeted the whole thing. Not, you know, Twitter had just came out. It was like 2011 when this happened. And everybody on my page knew I was a huge fan. So I'm like live tweeting the whole thing like, oh my gosh, they're asking if I can interview her. Oh my God, they approved it. And everybody on my feed is like, oh my God. Like going through the process with me. So it was crazy.
That's dope. So like, when you knew that you was going to get the interview, when they already went over there and discussed it, and they came back, they said, okay, you know, we can do the interview. How did you start beginning to prep for the interview? Or you just freestyled it?
I freestyled it because it was short, and the theme of the event was kind of just like mentoring. So it wasn't some salacious type of interview. Really, all my questions are really related to being a mentor, being a parent, and her parenting style and all of those things. And then I threw in like you do know how much your fans love you and they're rooting for you. She was like, I know, like that she knew that she had a lot of support and was loved, but it really was just like an on the spot situation.
That's dope, man. So I come in and salute you on that one. Everybody don't get an interview from Whitney Houston, man. So that's dope.
Not a lot of people that can say, especially in her later years. And she was like, screw y'all, media.
Yeah, that's dope right there. All right, so one of the biggest things that you're known for is the Carolina Waves. Let's talk about how that got generated. How did it start? And who's a part of that?
Well, it got started in 2017 is when I officially launched it. So we're on our 5th year anniversary this year. Got a lot of dope stuff planned for that. But honestly, I had already been doing like little open mics and music events and showcases in like 2016. And then I also had started doing a radio show on K97.5 that was called 919 Radio, which was to spotlight artists from the 919.
Okay.
And when that happened, it had been very successful and got a lot of buzz for like a year. And then I was like, I'm getting a lot of submissions from across the Carolinas. I want to kind of rebrand this whole thing. And the program director at the time was cool with it. Y'all gonna have to excuse me. But ultimately, I just sat down and I was like, I need something that's encompassing of the whole Carolinas. And one night I just thought of the name Carolina Waves. So I ended up being able to change the name of the show to Carolina Waves that was on the air. And then also everything that I was already doing, like the showcases and events, I just branded them under and switched under the name Carolina Waves.
Okay. That's dope right there. So like, so is it like a tour? Would you say it's like a tour?
So basically it's just a big promotional platform that has a lot of different branches to it. So obviously, like I said, there was the radio aspect of it. I do open mics, I do showcases, I do festivals and then festival partnerships and activations. Like I had an official stage at A3C, the Bull City Summit, Art of Cool Festival. So basically a lot of festivals will contact me to put on events as a part of their show and have like a stage where I'll bring in the talent, I'll book the talent, and then it's a part of the festival. So ultimately, yeah, a lot of different branches that create opportunities. There's a component of where I help, I offer consultations. I also help with rollout strategy, promotional packages, do media runs. So basically, it covers a whole range of different opportunities for artists to be able to ultimately network, build relationships, hone their craft, perform, and get outside of their market and their bubble. Because yes, we do tour and do shows all over the Carolinas and beyond. Wow. So it's just an opportunity, a lot of times people don't leave out of their city, so I'll come to the city. I'll see who's popping in that city, and then I always encourage people to move outside of their circle. So, once people have come to one event, they typically will bounce around and come to a lot of the other events. And you'll see those familiar faces at a lot of the Carolina Waves events.
You can bring it up for me. Yeah, absolutely. But that's what's up though. Like you are creating major platforms for these artists to showcase their talent, to get outside their cities. You know what I mean? Because you can't always just stay in your city. You know what I mean? You got to go outside your city. And I know that you have already met a lot of artists, independent artists. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was, what do you get out of doing this for these artists? Is it something that you consider doing when you first got started with radio and just jumping onto the music scene? Or was it just something like, you know, well, I'm already doing it, so I might as well just create the platform so people can do what they do?
Well, for me, one of the main motivations with creating and continuing to have Carolina Waves is I'm a fan of the underdog. I'm a fan of the overlooked, the people who may have been passed over or just don't have the opportunities that someone else might have, who might have, you know, more backing or funding or whatever the case may be. Because I feel like a lot of my life and career, that's been me. Like I feel like I've been overlooked, and you know, at times people are like, "Wow, like you're incredibly talented. Why hasn't this happened for you?" So when I got the opportunity to be able to shine a spotlight on people that make music, because that just happened to be the lane that I was in. No matter what lane I was in, I'm always gonna support the underdog and the people that aren't seen and heard. But I just so happened to work in radio, and a lot of artists wanted that opportunity. So me being in that position, it helped me be able to put other people in a position to win, and provide them with a platform, provide them with opportunities to be able to be seen. You know, it's not the end all be all. There's no one thing that's going to break an artist, but I definitely think that having the platform helps, and it helps develop a lot of talent, build relationships, and expose you to places that you might not have necessarily been. But ultimately, it's really just about helping the people out and shining a spotlight because I can.
Absolutely. That's dope right there. So what do you think, like, for the artists, like, how can they reach the next level of their career? Like, what can you say to those out there that's viewing us right now, that's watching?
Get out of your own way. Get out of the studio. Start moving around. Make yourself and your face known and your brand known. Invest in things like promo materials, merch, dope flyers, photo shoots, high quality videos, marketing plans. Be creative. Don't waste your money on trying to buy fake followers and try and take shortcuts, because all that shit gets found out, and it looks really bad to have, you know, 300,000 followers and 5 likes. Like, you know, you can't skip the process. So, you know, what I would say is just make sure that you are investing in the right things, that you do your research, that you get your business together, and that you're honing your skill and your craft, and making sure that you are the best, because you got to realize you're not competing with somebody that's hot in your own city. You're competing against Drake and Kendrick Lamar,
Right.
and, you know, Blast and J. Cole and all these artists that are incredibly talented and dope, who have the relationships, the budget, and all those things. So, you know, if they're out here outworking you and they already are stars, you know, what are you doing? They're outworking you and they're outperforming you, but you want to be on their level. How is that going to even happen? So, you know, stop trying to compete with people that are in your circle and open your eyes to the big picture.
Facts. All good message for y'all out there. So y'all make sure y'all jotting this down, because she's dropping jewels right now. So you must be big on artist development.
Definitely.
Now, how important it is for artists to have artist development? Because before you answer, I feel like that you can never be too old for artist development. You know, hell, even we still need artist development. But how is important artist development is for you?
Artist development is crucial, and it's one thing that's missing. And it's unfortunate because there's a good and bad things to the internet, and the fact that you can self-publish and distribute your own music. You don't need a record label for that, where you literally had to have a record label that booked studio time for you, that put you together with producers. Like, all those things, it's a DIY culture. So you can do it all yourself now, which allows for more people to be exposed that might not have the opportunity, that have talent, but also it opens up the floodgate for all the trash to be able to get through, who may not even necessarily care about music, and they just see it as something fun to do. So a lot of times you'll have somebody that's not even passionate or talented that will make it, and, you know, people are disheartened because they're seeing somebody that has no talent, has no real ambition or purpose in the music industry to make it. So with that being said, because it is so easy for everybody to get through, people don't take the time to develop themselves. And also, like, you know, I watched this Motown documentary. They had like a whole system where before they even put artists out, it took a couple of years where you had to pretty much go through the process of, okay, we have to make sure that you're media trained. We have to make sure that you go through performance. You have to go through etiquette. You have to go through all these things in the process so that when your music is released, you're already ready to hit the stage versus somebody who might just happen to look up on a song and they're on stage rapping over their vocals out of breath after 2 to 3 minutes. And that's the difference. When you would see artists, I would probably say up until the 2000s, that would come out, they were already seasoned because they had been developing for, you know, a couple of years. Like even Whitney Houston, when she got signed in 1983. She didn't come out till 1985 because they were making sure that she was fully seasoned and prepared by the time that she came out, and then everything just took off. The worst thing you can do is happen to luck out and not be ready. You know, you happen to luck out and Saturday Night Live wants to book you for a show and you can't perform. So artist development is absolutely crucial, and we need more of it because people can't perform. People don't know how to act in interviews. People don't know, you know, the things they should and should not say, or things they should and should not do. So there's a lot of training that's necessary for that. And a lot of times people don't take it upon themselves to do those things. So they need people to help them with it.
But why do you think artists today, they feel like they don't need artist development? Do you think it's because they're lazy? I mean, you would really never know, but like if you could just have your own opinion about
They're lazy and they don't take it seriously. That's what it comes down to. And it's not everybody, because I know people that you have to study the greats. Like Michael Jackson did not become Michael Jackson by just getting on stage and doing what he wanted to do. Like he studied James Brown, and there was a competitiveness and a competitive spirit in the music industry that's lost. You know, Prince will be trying to outdo Michael Jackson, and they will be trying to outdo the next person. And Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey or whoever, Janet and Madonna, everybody will be trying to one-up each other, and there was a competitive nature and a competitive spirit. People don't have that these days. They just want to get on, you know, do their little song and then get off the stage. So it's just like, people don't, when you're not called to do something and you're not talented and it's not your passion, you're not going to want to be better at it. Like I know for me, I want to be the best at what I do. But a lot of people just see the music industry as a quick check. It's not something that they're serious and dedicated about. And you can tell those artists. I mean, there's a difference between somebody like a J. Cole and a Kendrick Lamar, the people that actually have Grammys and long careers, versus somebody like a Soulja Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, Soulja Boy was very successful in what he did, not taking that away. But when it comes to artistry, like, take away how much of a trendsetter he was. As an artist, he's trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we might, you know, do that Soulja Boy in the club, but at the end of the day, like, does anybody take you seriously as an artist? No, they don't. They laugh at your rants on Instagram and on Facebook, but when it comes to artistry, to be respected in your craft, no, it's not. It's not a thing. So, I mean, it really just boils down to what type of artist that you want to be. If you want to be somebody that's taken seriously, that's critically acclaimed, that can sell out your own tours 20 years later without even having an album out.
Facts.
You know, if you want a legacy, longevity, and a career, then you have to take it seriously. I was just thinking about this the other day, like, name any serious profession and career that you don't have to have training in. If you want to be a doctor, you got to go through 12 plus years of education.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a broadcaster, if you want to be a lawyer, you have to go through all this training and all these things. What do people do is to become an artist? Like, you need to, there's no college. There's nothing like that. So you have to really take it upon yourself to develop yourself and your own craft. And, you know, unfortunately, there's not a lot of places that, and the record labels don't really do that as much these days. So you really have to just take it upon yourself. And if you really care about what you do and you want to be the best, then you're going to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So recently you was at Dreamfest. Let's talk about Dreamfest briefly. What was the experience like?
Outlet Fest was fun.
I see you out there having fun.
It was fun. It was a lot of walking, but ultimately, yeah. Shout out to J. Cole. Like he did that.
Absolutely.
Like it was a great lineup. It was well put together. There was no drama. Like it was dope.
Absolutely. Some of the stars that was out there. I know Murray was out there.
Johnson Murray. He's like my favorite. Like he's just the most down to earth, fun, energetic celebrity that one of the most that I've ever met. Like he always is gonna be charismatic and give a good interview.
Right. And you know, like I seen the whole boomerang thing. I was, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I see from you. Like, you know, when I scrolled on your page, I just see you having fun. You know, and for the people that actually know you, what are some of the things that they can say about you? Like, okay, if you say, you know, here I am, like, what type of person is she?
First of all, I'm hilarious. That's first. I'm very giving, thoughtful, caring, and I mind my business. And, you know, I'm really just about my grind and my hustle. That's probably the most people to say about me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, I ran into a lot of artists that know you, and, you know, they speak very highly about you. Some of the artists, you know, the Showtime and Jonathan's, you know, that's dope. That's something that we didn't talk about.
We don't do it anymore. It canceled about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 months ago, but it was fun while it lasted. And I think that it was modeled after, you know, the Showtime at the Apollo, so people got booed and stuff like that. But nobody well, there was one girl that cried at the end. But that wasn't my fault. That was the other hoes was making jokes about it. But
I was going to ask you, did anybody ever get booed?
Oh yeah.
And off the stage?
Yeah, there were a lot of people that got booed. There were some weeks where people should have got booed and they didn't, and the crowd was just not giving what they needed to give. But yeah, people did get booed, and again, it's one of those things where this is just too sensitive of a culture. Like, y'all gotta stop being pansies and, you know, afraid of criticism. Like, Lauryn Hill got booed at the Apollo. She came back 5 years later and won 7 Grammys, like, with one album, and she still tours to this day off that one album. Neo, like, so many artists have gotten booed or they had to go back to the drawing board and improve their craft. It's just part of the process. You can't skip the process.
Yeah, I mean, and most artists don't accept criticism well. You know, they get booed and they say, you know what, man, fuck it, I'm done with it.
Or people don't pay attention to it. Make them pay attention.
Yeah.
If they're not paying attention to you, then you might need to improve your performance. Did you ever think about that?
What about crowd control? Getting the crowd involved when you perform. How important is that?
It's essential, because you can, even if you aren't that great of a performer, if you get their attention at first, they'll rock with you throughout. Because I even saw that at Apollo. Like, there are people who probably would have been booed, but they were able to establish a connection with the audience, and they had them participating. And they made them feel a part of their performance. So it was, you know, they were able to make it through to the end. But yeah, it's definitely crowd control. You don't see that many artists on the indie circuit in the Carolinas that have it. I would say Juice Lord has great crowd control. De Niro Ferrari has been signed, but from North Carolina, I would say he has some of the best crowd control I've ever seen.
Wow.
And he's one of my favorite performers. So Shane Gang is good, and Shane Gang is good at crowd control. So this newer artist named X Brody is really good at crowd control. So there are a few artists that, you know, that have what it takes. It's just really a matter of making sure that you stay in tune and engage with the audience, and that you're not just performing for your boys that are on stage with you, that you're actually in tune and paying attention to the crowd.
Right. That's good information right there. And, you know, like, you're supposed to have crowd control, but if you're really taking artist development seriously and you're practicing every day, these are the things that you're going to get taught to know how to do to get seasoned, like Mir was saying earlier in the interview. If you're not doing that and you don't have stamina out there, you just, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get out here and I'm gonna perform. You know what I mean? But you're not engaging with the crowd. They don't even know who you are and where you from and what you're doing and where you coming from either way. They don't know that. So how do you get them involved. You know what I mean? Drop in the comments, let us know how you feeling, and we'll respond to y'all. Also, you can Gmail me on the Rise TV at gmail.com, and we can set up these artist development classes. She offer those services. So does BMP, Business Minded People. We also offer those services as well. Shout out to DJ Remedy though. He was on the Carolina Waves too, right?
Yeah, Remedy, he does a lot of my events. My main DJ, the official DJ of Carolina Waves is DJ R&B, who has his own management and production company, Forefronts ENT. But he's booked so much now. So when he's not available, I usually have DJ Remedy do my events. He's my partner over at K97. And if he's not available, I'll usually use DJ Delmatic. So that's kind of like my core circle of DJs that I use. I'm particular about what DJs I use because they have to be great at what they do. And shouts out DJ R&B. He's definitely one of the best.
Right. And so who DJ'd the Dream Fest?
That was DJ Remedy. So we did an event on the Friday before Dreamville Fest called Big Dreams. It was a conference and concert. So DJ R&B DJ'd the first half of that. That was at the Lincoln Theater in Raleigh. And then DJ Remedy DJ'd the second half. The following day, that Sunday for Dreamville Fest, me and DJ Remedy opened up the stage with K97.5 at Dreamville Fest. So the doors opened at 12. We were on stage at 12, kind of welcoming everybody in till 12:30. And it wasn't 80,000 people out there yet. It was only a few hundred rushing to get in so they could get to the front, but it was still fun. So yeah, that was definitely experience hosting at Dreamville Fest. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Period.
Y'all better step your game up. You already know what time it is, man. Like I said, dropping jewels. Here I am on the Rise TV season 2. It don't get no better than this, man. Y'all really need to tap in. And don't be afraid to reach out to people, man. You got to be able to learn how to start engaging with people so you can really start the networking off. If you don't know how to engage, you would never know how to network, man. So make sure that you're tapping in a major way. If you don't have a manager, you got to be your own manager sometimes. That's why you got to learn the business. And
you don't need a manager if you ain't got nothing to manage.
Right, that's true too. You know what I mean? So have something to manage, and then maybe you can be a manager. What do you think?
I agree. If you're not getting bookings regularly and you don't have opportunities and things like that coming your way, you don't need a manager.
Right.
There's literally nothing to manage. Everything else you can do on your own. So when you get to the place where you need a manager, you have to realize that people are investing in you their time, which they're never going to get back, in hopes of a dream. 1-2% of people that want to make it. And if people are investing their time and energy and their resources in you, you got to be taking it seriously. So I don't really think and encourage a manager until you get to the point where you're getting consistent paid bookings. Because maybe artist development, consulting with somebody who can help you make sure you get your business together in terms of making sure your music is registered and all those things. But you definitely don't need a manager just starting out.
That's what's up. What can we expect from you in 2022? We are entering the second quarter now. What are some of the things that you got coming up?
Well, like I said a little bit earlier, it's the 5th year anniversary of Carolina Waves. I've never done a Carolina Waves festival. I've done many smaller festivals, but the brand of Carolina Waves has never had its own festival. So you can expect that coming this fall. Gonna be doing an award show later this year. Planning a couple of different tours, a South Carolina tour, because I've done a media, a 1-day media, 1 or 2 day media run in South Carolina. I've never done a lot of shows and bridged the gap with that market. So I've got a tour coming up, a multi-city tour coming up in South Carolina, and working on another major festival partnership. I have a phone call on this Wednesday, so fingers crossed that goes through, and then I'll be able to announce that soon.
Well, much blessings on that. I think it's going to go through for you. You've been helping people out.
I'll receive it.
Absolutely, receive that blessing. You already know. So, before we get up out of here with this interview, before we conclude it, Besides Whitney, what have been like some of your dopest interviews? Like interviewing people. You can give me
Who
three.
am I like? Let me see. Um, who do I liked? Who sticks out? I like Boz. I've interviewed him a couple times. I interviewed him at Dreamville, and then another time he had come out of station. That was cool. I interviewed Neo. He was really cool and funny. Um, but definitely my other idols, childhood idols, TLC. They're always fun to interview. I've interviewed them separately, not together. So I interviewed T-Boz individually a few times, and I've interviewed Chili individually a few times. So I got to get the interview with them together. But I've met them multiple times. It's funny. Y'all remember 106 in Park, right? So they were on there one time years ago, and me and my best friend, we actually met through like a TLC chat room years ago, and then we met in person. And she's actually the reason I'm in North Carolina, but that's another story.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we were on 106 in Park. We got chosen to dance, so we were in this dance battle against these other group of three dudes. It was me, my best friend, and one of her friends. So we danced on 106 in Park TLC. It was funny. I had on these boxers, my best friend's uncle's boxers on my head, and we like dressed like TLC. It was hilarious.
Wow. So you dance?
Hell no. And I don't even know what I was doing in that video. We did the "What About Your Friend" dance. You know when they just go to the side. They literally just go to the side. It's nothing complicated about it. When people see it, they be like, "I know you can dance." I can't, and I don't have those knees no more. So yeah.
You're not dancing. You up there having fun.
Right. I do a little boomerang, but yeah, no knee action.
Yeah, you on my race shit was funny as hell. Like, y'all was doing the boomerang. I'm like, look at them. Yo, that shit was funny as hell, though.
Yeah, I love doing boomerangs. They're fun.
Because he does keep the same energy. No matter where he is, no matter where he is.
Every time I've seen him, he always is like charismatic and fun and funny and engaging. Every single time I see him, no matter who he's with or what's going on, like I really fuck with Murray.
Absolutely. Salute you, Murray. You already know what it is, man. Fayetteville's own 2-6, man. Mir, I am. Any last inspirational words to your fans, your supporters, your family, and your friends? Anybody that's tuned in with us?
Thank you for your constant support. Like, without y'all, and I wouldn't continue to do it. Honestly, it's funny, that every time I go out, well, not every time, but sometimes when I go out, I get people to come up to me like, and they might be inspired by the radio thing. So like even in Dreamville, some girl back there broadcasting it that was so excited to meet me and was like, "You're one of my radio inspirations," and I get that a lot. And then artists, they come up to me a lot of times like, without your platform, I wouldn't have anywhere to perform. Like, thank you so much. And a lot of artists have, evolved and been doing well for themselves, created their own platforms and grown. So it's really cool to see. And they always, I get DMs all the time, like, thank you so much. And, I truly appreciate you. So, and then at one of my year-end mixers, I think that's my phone giving feedback. All right. Like, I literally got my flowers. So like my partner at the time had like arranged for everybody to give me my flowers on stage. So it was pretty cool. So yeah, just thank y'all for all your support. And for all the artists that are watching, my only advice is to build relationships, be seen, hone your skill, hone your craft, study the greats, get your business and your paperwork together, and make sure that if you don't have the money in the budget, you have some other skill set to offer. Bartering is a real thing. You can barter, and you can also, learn different things. So, if you have time but you don't have money, learn a skill, learn how to do graphic design, learn how to shoot videos, because you can use that for yourself, and then you could also barter that for something else. So learn to be creative, and like I said, get outside of your box and start networking and meeting with the people that you want to be on their shows. And don't get mad if you don't get booked if you've never been to one of their events.
Work harder. You already know. And one more thing, you hosted a mixtape for Yellow Brim, right?
Yeah, shout out to Yellow Brim. Like, he just came out of nowhere, just like
Yeah.
working hard, like with his little shark head, like just be popping up. It hasn't dropped yet. It'll be dropping soon. So shout out to Yellow Brim. The Hell on Earth mixtape gonna be dropping real soon, and you'll see him at some more upcoming events. I do have my mixtape with DJ Remedy dropping on April 18th. Ride the Wave Volume 8. We did over 1 million streams last year.
Wow.
Across the different platforms. So definitely tap in if you want to be a part of that. That's me, DJ Remedy, and that's gonna be dropping on April 18th. So yeah, that's what we got coming up. I'm doing a 420 show, so if you're a smoker, come out to that to celebrate the upcoming tours. And
where's that going to be located?
That's going to be at Doja Lounge in Wendell.
Okay.
And you know, the vibe and the environment is just very 420 friendly. So definitely, you know, come out to that. And yeah, just follow us at Carolina Ways to get involved with what we got going on. A lot of exciting things. Follow me at Mir's Empire. And yeah, stroll up in my DMs and we can connect.
That's what it is, man. Any last shout out?
Shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. Shouts out to, like I said, DJ RB, DJ Remedy, DJ Domolish. Shouts out to you for having me. Shouts out to Fayetteville. Shouts out to, you know, everybody that's a supporter. And yeah. And yeah, we appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for rocking with Carolina Waves for 5 years. And it's only gonna get bigger and better.
Woo, you already know what time it is. Here I am, man, from the Raleigh area. Came on the Rize TV, season 2, and dropped from Jules. Y'all need to go back and watch this interview. Matter of fact, stop what you're doing and go ahead and subscribe to the channel on the Rize TV. Make sure you comment in the comments below, because we want to make sure y'all engaging with us as well. You know what I mean? This thing works both ways. You know what I mean? You networking through comments. You know what I mean? You can see it on your screen where to follow us at, where to follow us at. So make sure you accommodate that. If you want to tap in with the Carolina Wave, if you want to tap in with everything that she said today, make sure y'all slide in the DM. You know what I mean? She will talk back, you know, and start the networking process, man. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to do what you need to do for your career, man.
Don't be scared. Ain't nobody gonna speak up for you like you. Ain't nobody gonna advocate for you like you.
Right.
So don't be afraid to pop your shit, but be able to back it up.
Big facts. Actual factuals, man. So y'all have always been great. You know what I mean? Always tuning in every day. I do this Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturdays. You know what I mean? If it's exclusive, I open it up on a Sunday. So, you know, I definitely appreciate y'all for keep tuning in to On the Rize TV. Make sure y'all look out for the interview. We got Lady Luck on the Rize TV. This shit is about to be crazy. You know what I mean? So make sure that you tap it in. Shout out to the home team, Business Minded People, BMP, Lizzie, Yayo, Block Burner, Wooh Baby, and Mr. Heat, Chef Diddy. They all went down to Atlanta this weekend and, you know, performed for Von T, you know, for his retirement party. And, you know, it was lit. And they stopped in Augusta too, so shout out to Augusta, Georgia. You know what I mean? They out there doing their thing. So, you know, we salute y'all too for giving us the opportunity to go out there and bless y'all platform. You know what I mean? Because it's what it's really about, blessing each other's platform, man. So we can get to where we need to get at. So you already know what time it is. Make sure y'all continue to follow me, Mozzie Bracken 18 on Instagram, Facebook. Find me, Mazerati Santana. Where they can find you at one more time, sis?
At Carolina Waves, at Mir's Empire, MIRS Empire.
You already know what it is. So y'all make sure y'all tap in. And next up, man, we got Keeping It in a Bando with yours truly. Make sure y'all tap into that show. You already know, man. Salute.
It was poppin', it's your boy Mark Hanson. Know where you can catch me at, right? On the Rize TV. Every day I hustle, I'm grinding, stacking my paper up. Damn, just got a paper cut, bars hit like an uppercut. For niggas who talk too much, haters just wanna rock with us. Graduated with honors, I finished school. Popular interview after interview, different lanes and avenues hitting these platforms. Any others, the bills is due. Ain't no need to deny it, the city good don't divide it. All of this segregation just leave room for hating in your heart and eyes.